I'm Sevdije Kastrati, I'm cinematographer.
I'm Antoneta Kastrati and I'm a writer-director. For me, ZANA was my first feature project. Done a lot of documentaries, longer and a few short films, but this was the longest and the most challenging project. We're just putting everything into it. On top of that, it's a very personal story that's very important to me. We both wanted to be doctors as we were growing up. We went to medical school. I was the first in my family that went to get higher education, like high school education. None of my older sisters were going to school. And then the war happened, and that really changed a lot of things for us.
I fell in love with film once I started working on documentary film, right after the war in Kosovo. Until then, I didn't think about filmmaking, and it was the first time I held a camera. I felt this really strong connection with this as a tool to tell very important stories.
For me, it started as a way, as activism. The first time I did the documentary, like she said, it really felt like it was a way to communicate something, to be able to actually tell something in a way that is affecting people. And a lot of the work we did was breaking some of the taboo subjects, you know. For us, we grew up in a patriarchal society. We had to, from early on, to break a lot of rules. We had to really fight to get what we wanted to get. We wanted to help other women. We wanted to bring that conversation, you know, through film. ZANA, the film, is told through the perspective of Lume, and I always wanted to stay true with that. And whatever she is seeing, we're seeing it through her. We wanted to have this approach that we're finding things with her, we're experiencing actually her coming to terms with the audience, with, you know, we're moving with her. War is really brutal. And this aspect, this brutality, is something that's really, for parents, it's really hard to overcome. Not just parents, but for me, personally, for us.
The look of it, the dreams, it's darker in the film, and that is because it's darker things she's experiencing, and we wanted them to also be really real.
We wanted this feeling of urgency, you know, things are actually happening, because that's when she's really processing what's happening to her. It's actually really hard to explain it with words. That's why movies are a really good vehicle, because there's no words to explain what the main character is going through, or what do you go through when you lose a child.
The film is giving voice to the women that don't have a voice. And I think that is really important, because it speaks to not just women of Kosovo, but to the whole women in the world. So that's something that's really important for me. This is the second year in a row that I have a film that I've shot that's Kosovo's entry for the Oscars. It's just feels like it's right. The stories that I'm working on are meaningful, and we are doing something. We're moving forward, and for me that is really wonderful. I really wanted to shoot on Panavision glass, and I love the vintage lenses, because shooting with digital cameras, still there is something about the story and the character of what the look that it needed. The vintage lenses would really help on creating that, and I was so happy when Panavision decided that they would support us to make the film and bring the package to Kosovo for the first time.
I started off early on in this project with Sev. We had worked on a few smaller indies before, and when she brought this project over, she had mentioned that her sister was working on writing a script loosely based on a little bit of their past. We came in and did a very extensive lens test, and she ended up going with our beautiful Super Speeds. I reached out to Megan to see if there was any possible way that Light Iron could be a part of this journey.
I think I kind of knew there was a basis of this project being a little bit about a woman and kind of her struggles with what was going on in her personal life and motherhood. They were telling a story that I didn't think a lot of people had heard.
Right.
I certainly hadn't. You know, the first time I watched it, I had to take kind of several steps to kind of watch it and step back and digest and then come back, because it was so immensely powerful. I turned to Alexa and I came back and I said, okay, we'll figure out how to make this happen and support the film through post, because this is a project I think, you know, that needs to be made.
We were going to screen the film at TIFF, and finishing at the facility that Light Iron has, it's just an amazing, because it means that we will have a product of like the highest standard that the audience will be able to see it.
I thought it was very respectful of them to want people to be involved who they could financially support their contributions as well. And so, they were able, I think, to secure a couple of grants and utilize that a little bit towards post. And then luckily we were able to kind of help them out the rest of the way. It just so happened it actually ended up that our colorist in New York, Dunckley, it was able to open up with his schedule, and it felt a little like fate that this project ended up on the East Coast with him.
I think like third day when it's like I didn't even have to finish completely a sentence and you were already doing it, and that was pretty amazing, because it just was like there was a real understanding going on.
I think a lot of the look was captured on set. You already knew exactly the direction you were going. Your production design and sort of crew really set the stage for the Kosovar sort of experience. When I was first watching the film, I was able to watch it with the approach of like, oh, how am I going to help, production with this? And it was a lot of just windows to sort of shape down the light, the ambient light, to create that darkness. We wanted the blacks to hold a texture as if like a matte piece of paper. So we did that in a way where we could shape the light and sort of flag it off from where you didn't want it to be, but still hold our characters in the center of the frame so she could just, be on her journey through the darkness there.
Having a colorist that really understands what the story is about. He's also a father and has children, and it really affected him, so he really understood what was happening. And sometimes he would go like, is it really this bad for women in Kosovo? It's great to see that we made something that actually affects people. With all the support that we were able to get into making this film is just really amazing, and that as a cinematographer I feel also very lucky to be in that place where there is actually people out there that are willing to help and believe in you.
You put everything you believe in, you put yourself into something. You spent 5 years writing it and making it. And I just wanted to share something the way I've experienced part of my life.
ZANA doesn't just speak to the people of Kosovo. This is something that we have happening everywhere in so many places around the world. So I think it's a very universal thing that it's just people can connect to and speak to them.
It really shows you what's really important, and it's each other, and family and connections and love.